Yeah.
All right, it's recording. So thank you guys for watching this video today. So this video is to summarize the second chapter of the African Urban Exploration Trip featured by Traveling Circus of Urbanism. So I'm Mariko, the founder of Traveling Circus of Urbanism and also a curator and journalist. And Sename is here from Togo. He's an architect and he's a founder of WoeLab. And Julien is here. He is also joining us here from Lomé. He's a founder of Democracy Studio. So yeah, today we're gonna summarize what we have done for the past few months, and yeah. So today we are recording this video from Lomé, the capital city of Togo. And we have officially started our collaboration this month, actually, January 2022. And today we're going to talk about the things we have done together, the collaborations, including, what WoeLab is about, introduced by Sename. So yeah, let's get started. We're going to each talk about like 10 minutes, just quickly summarize what we have done. So yeah, let me start from explaining what Traveling Circus of Urbanism is about. I hear this like a weird audio. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. It's
Sounds
okay.
like everything is skipping. Okay, cool. As long as it's recording, okay. So I'm gonna share a screen. Okay. So yeah, Traveling Circus Urbanism. It's a very long, tedious name. I'm sorry about that. I founded this platform almost 5 years ago, and it's a platform to collect stories from different cities in the world. So, and this is basically a media where people can submit their ideas and their stories from different cities, like architecture stories and urbanism stories from the local scale. This is also, they also serve as a platform where international team of urbanists like Julien and I get together and enhance the global collaboration together. This is essentially what we are doing now. So yeah, like I started this platform because I think it's really important to have global perspective in investigating of cities, because we have a lot of shared common issues that is happening all over the world. And I also want to use the methodology of storytelling because storytelling is really powerful. So yeah, this is how the website it looks like. I can also share the link of Traveling Circus of Urbanism later. We are always open for collaborations and also contributions to your stories as well. And just like we are doing now, we are also up for local practical collaboration as well. So take a look at the website. So yeah, I also want to talk really briefly about storytelling, why I chose storytelling as a really powerful medium for Traveling Circus of Urbanism. So for the past few years in the field of architecture and urban design, urban planning, they have started using storytelling in the different fields because it can communicate with people better. And by storytelling, it can include so many mediums like photos and videos and text and audio. And in this case, which we're going to talk about a little bit today, data can also tell stories too. And of course, we have done like some performances, exhibitions, and active collaborations that we are doing here in Africa too. So yeah, it was a really quick introduction, but I can also talk about what I have done here in Lomé after the introduction of Sename. So Sename, if you can jump in and start talking about your initiative, Relab, which is really inspiring work, for about 10 minutes.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the invitation. So we are very glad in WoeLab to welcome you for this this day. And yes, what I tried to do till 10 years now is to put together a tech community to address what I identify like one of the big issue the humanity will face in the future, which is the global urbanization and the place the African cities will have in this global urbanization. And this place is huge because till 2050, one urban citizen on 6 will be located in Africa. So Africa will provide one of the biggest contribution to the global urbanization. And if this urbanization is not planned, if Africa didn't develop his own way of building cities, an ethical way of building cities, and African cities, African new cities of African future cities emerge like cities you can find in the West. It will be a big issue, and why that is the problem we try to address by launching this very modest initiative we called Hub City, with these ambitions to provide an alternative relation to the smart cities by trying to put together all the conditions who can create the capacities in a urban community to be able to develop his own technology and be able to, in the future, to become the first stakeholder in the production of the city by be able to launching his own 3D printing project, his own social media, his own local money, etc., etc. Those tools or those technology who tomorrow can become big traps for our data and our freedom. So yes, that's why we are developing this experimentation till 10 years. We have a lot of big success, and it was talked about all over the world as a success story, but no one, most of the time, don't want to put the finger on the fact that it is self-funded. Even when the journalists ask us about what we are doing here in Lomé since 10 years, they are not interested of the financial aspect. The fact that we have financed all this with our own resources till 10 years is not, they didn't see it like, or they didn't believe it, or they didn't find it very intuitive to talk about. And it was for a long time a frustration for us, because people talk about our experimentation, our idea, like very revolutionary idea, but they didn't really want to put the emphasis about what is revolutionary in it, which is the fact that we finance all this ourselves without any help of big international organization and even our local authorities. So that was why also the experimentation didn't grow as it should. It was for a long time just a good, beautiful stories to tell, but the impact, which can be huge, was not achieved. And the dynamic we are right now in is to give us the possibilities and the resources and the capacities to become really impactful and change the scale and become a very concrete and very efficient urban management structure who can challenge all those smart city projects we are seeing everywhere in Africa, led by big tech or by our policymaker right now. Thank you. That's what I can say for the moment. But in the discussion, maybe I can go deep in the thematics and the vision.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, so Sename has been kindly hosted us for the past 1.5 months, and that's how we've been doing this collaboration together. And it is really surprising that it is self-funded, because it's like it's a beautiful place. It's like a lot of things are happening, and living here, learning like how things work, and how people are learning from WoeLab as well, and how you, Sename, as like an influential person, communicate with others too. So yeah, it's been really inspiring experience. So yeah, I thank you again. And there are some websites and also a really beautiful video that I think it's really beautiful to explain the whole picture of what Sename is doing here. And yeah, we're gonna put everything on the description box so that you can check it out. So yeah, thank you. Julien, if you have any comments or questions really quickly, what do you think?
Nothing so far. I would maybe say that Sename is very humble in what he says of these statements, because they did something big and quite unique. So yeah, of course, now it's time to unleash the potential to other African cities. I think the conjecture is here, and also like the project is at a point of maturity, which allow us to think about making it bigger. But the whole thing that Sename achieved those last 10 years is already really big. Like, yeah, you can be proud, Sename.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wonderful. So yeah, I can also talk about what I have done here for the past 1.5 months. I can't believe that it's already 1.5 months, to be honest. It just time that evaporated. So yeah, that's how much I enjoy to stay here. Let me share the screen again. So can you see it? Yes?
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, we've been learning a lot from Sename and the practices here, but I also wanted to return something to them as well by using my own skill set. And here I was really interested in discovering the stories and empirical data set on and off the street. So namely, I wanted to speak to the users of Relab, because this is my first time in Lomé, this is my first time in Africa. And I didn't know anything about how people live in everyday lives, what kind of need they have in their everyday lives in cities. So it was really interesting to learn from each startup's initiatives working in WoeLab, and just behind it there are always users, citizens of people who live in cities. And I think even though it's the case of Lomé, we can learn something from their stories, their practices too. So yeah, this is like where I started. Like, I just wanted to discover more about the stories on the street. So I'm gonna start from the conclusion first. I created this website called Hub Citizens Project. And this is just a capture of how it looks like on the website. I can also show you on the website itself in a minute. But as you can see, it's just a really simple website, just highlighting each citizens of hub cities, which is a project that Sename has been doing here around 1 kilometer away from WoeLab. So yeah, for the past 1.5 months, I've been conducting interviews highlighting who they are as humans. It's more like face-to-face interviews and photo shootings with them, 10 minutes each, sometimes 30 minutes. And also like participatory surveys. I spent a lot of time with the users as well. For instance, for the SCOP project, every like trash collection, I decided to like join them and talk to them. And also they let me see their housing conditions and what is their everyday needs. So like I have collected these empirical data and I have put together in the format of website. And it is kind of surprising, well, you know, like it was challenging for me that this kind of empirical data set, including like more analytical, statistical data set, wasn't really available here. So we kind of needed, because like it wasn't available online. I of course like started from like Googling like a municipality data set and so on. There was nothing I couldn't find. So yeah, it was really challenging for me to go out there and actually started collecting the data, different kind of data. So yeah, I built this website as well. I can also talk a little bit about coding and the CRM side of it. So I used a technology called Helix, which enables group editing. It's a type of CMS, CRM. So I need to click that later. But it's a really easy platform to share with others, content creators, because it uses Google Doc as the foundation of the content. So as you can share the Google Doc with the others, anyone has access to it and, you know, like update their website. And the original idea to me was not creating really statistical, like static website that I can only do work for. I thought it'd be really interesting to have an introduction of website making. I mean, this is like, Helix is really simple, but at the same time, it still requires codings and so on, and you kind of need to understand the technology behind it. But I thought it could be also a good introduction for, you know, like a digital you know, tools and website makings. And in the future, I'm hoping that some of the members from WoeLab and even like kids on the streets can learn how to update a contact on Google Docs and just understand how Helix works and so on. And yeah, I also have put some work into coding as well. You have all the access and editorial access as well, with all the code, HTML and CSS on my GitHub. And the color palette, I also generated from like a generator. And I just wanted to create like aesthetically beautiful and simple, but at the same time, like visually powerful to communicate with others kind of aesthetic styles. So yeah, this is what I have decided on working. And I, on the other side, other than empirical data sets and interviews, we have also done statistical spatial data analysis as well. It happened really, really quickly. So it was in 10 days or something like that. So, you know, we are still working on it, but statistical spatial data collection has been done through surveys with simple forms. We still needed to go out to the streets and like ask people to like type it in, also like answer the questions and so on. For this survey, we wanted to understand the basic information of this neighborhood, the densities and age and like the housing structures and you know, the use of smartphone and so on, so that we can know more about the users of hub cities. And through the conversation, we also got them curious about, you know, what WoeLab is about. There are a lot of people who didn't know about WoeLab, even though they live only like 5 minutes away, but they got really curious, and sometimes they sign up for a SCOP initiative and so on. So yeah, it was really interesting. So data like collection itself is just only the basic, like you need to do something with that data. So for that, we did data storytelling, data visualization, in other words, to effectively communicate insights from the data set using narratives and visualizations. So yeah, I'm not gonna show all the documents that has been created by by a talented intern, but just to show the quick side of it, we have mapped different aspects of the neighborhood. At the center, if you can see the cursor, the WoeLab is right here, and it's like 1 kilometer away from the WoeLab, and it's residential, but you know, there are a lot going on, like environmental, environmental aspect of it, and like, for instance, trash dump sites and so on, and also the streets and shops and, you know, social economical side of it, buildings and so on. We have mapped everything so that we have overall idea of what this neighborhood is about, who we are designing for. Yeah, this is also part of the data visualization that has been done. I'm going to synthesize everything and put it in the website of Citizen, maybe like around here, so that you can also see like the pictures of people and like learn about their stories. At the same time, you can also learn the insight of, you know, statistical data set and so on. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's very simple, but yeah, like my conclusion for this day is that the valuable data lives on the streets, and it's always really, really painful and hard to collect them. But like throughout the process, we should always know like for whom we are designing for. So yeah, it was a really interesting experience for me. I can quickly show the website itself, which is not finished,
yes,
but just to show. Yeah, just a sec. So there you go. So this is the website, and you can scroll it like this. And it's both in English and French. By the way, for the interview, because I don't speak French, I have had a lot of help from French speakers for like talking to them and you know, transcribing them. So I thank all of them. And yeah, this is how it looks like. And obviously, you know, this is again powered by Helix. So you can keep adding more contents like here on the right column. So like here right now we have like 20 interviews, but in the future, I hope to see more faces showing up on this website as well. So yeah, thank you.
Congratulations, it's a very nice project, and yeah, unanimously everyone's like it at the lab, so I really hope they will manage to maintain it alive and bring some more people. Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, it's time for you, Julien.
All right, it's my turn. So, well, thank you for having me. Thank you, Sename, for hosting us and introducing us to your amazing work here in Lomé. We met in Paris a few years ago, and I've been attracted quite early to your work of, let's say, indigenous smart cities. So yeah, I'm really happy that we finally met here, and I've been able to visit the WoeLab. As for myself, so my contribution has been like, I will share you some slides. Where is it? Oh, right here, share. Can you see my screen? I guess, all right. Oh, 1 second. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, good. This beautiful color, right? So yeah, we started our collaboration with the hackathon. The Connective Cities Hackathon was the first we attended together. So I did it remotely because I was not yet in Lomé at that time. But it was really cool working with the WoeLab users to defining the identity of a solution that we were presenting for the city of Lomé. So actually, the city of Lomé expressed some concern about fake news. And I proposed them some fake news detector that is based on machine learning. And I've been working with the startup owners of the WoeLab in finding an identity, and it's really cool because they chose a famous legendary king from Togo, which is called Zitri, as a protector of Lomé. And so we gave this name to the fake news detector, which I really liked. And I apparently, like, the jury liked it too, because we won some prize at this hackathon. And notably, we won some workshops and training, so that we have been using in the later collaboration. We will go through that just after that. The other hackathon we attended is the one called European Union Africa. It was later in December, and it was actually a warm-up of the first detector, but in another way. I did it like in 2 languages, English and French, and proposing some data dashboard. It didn't have so much success than the first one. So that's something. After that, I've been also working on building a distance server. It's now based in France at my mom's flat, to be honest. And so this distance server is in capacity to host the data of the lab. So the initial idea is that Arduino, and so all this data needs to be stored somewhere. It can cost a lot at the end if you have a lot of projects and host it in a distant server that you are paying services for. So this is the infrastructure of hosting data that can also be used as a machine learning working station. We haven't used it much, to be honest, in January, but at least it's here, it's ready to use. We have these projects of developing a crowd evaluator. That was one of the solutions proposed for one of the hackathons too, but we didn't have the time, honestly, to work on that in January. So actually, yeah, that's what we are thinking about, something that could count crowds, and that makes sense for both urban developers, in different ways. So yeah, that's a project that will maybe be pursued later. About the workshops, we chose to animate a design thinking workshop during January with the different startup owners here at the WoeLab. So it was the occasion to train the project owners on new skills, and we decided to all work on the same case study. So we chose one startup, which is Scope, working on the plastic recycling in Lomé. And we went in deep detail on the innovation process of Scope. So here you can see the first workshop was context mapping. Then we did some stakeholder mapping. After that, we went to a persona's definition. That's the first version of the persona. And we used that first version to make the customer process. And with that customer process, we identified, like underlined in pink, we identified the repetitive patterns to be able to make a first draft of a prototype of the Scope platform. So it took us a week working every afternoon in group. That was really constructive. And yeah, that's more or less about the workshop in January. Then we also work together with Sename and some close partners about the strategy of the hub city. So actually the work that Sename has been doing for the last 10 years is now at a point where it should be shared and duplicated in other African cities. So we have been thinking about the best governance and funding strategy for that. It has been the opportunity to make some rebranding because there is a lot of different entities in around and inside Sename's work. So now we rebranded everything, the whole concept, under the name of Hub City. Hub City is now having a website that is almost ready to be public. Actually, we just need to be like a few adjustments, but in a few days you will be able to visit hubcity.site. And we also did a synthesis of the whole work in both English and French. And so you will have the whole reflection about the strategy for the governance and the crowdfunding. And at the same time, you will have a good understanding of this 10-year statement. So this is more or less all what I wanted to tell you. But now is the time, if you don't have any comments or questions, to jump on an avant-premiere of the crowdfunding campaign. And so I will present you what will be the next steps for Hub City. All right, let's go to this. So I will just share my screen again. Here we go. All right. So guys, this is an avant-premiere. It means like the crowdfunding campaign for Hub City is not launched yet, but we are almost ready to go. So I'm presenting you to it right now. Hub City is focused on integrating indigenous urban innovation from Togo since 2012. The whole market size, it's actually the African cities growth. So you might know that by 2035, we will have plus 380 millions of people in African cities. It will go very fast. It will be very big. And we are, I mean, the statistics are saying that 1/3 of the world population will be African by 2011. By 2100, 13 of the 20 world's biggest urban areas will be on the African continent, which is a big change compared to the 20th century, where the biggest urban areas of the world was in Asia. We will have a change of continents in terms of demography. And so, yeah, Africa will reach 2.1 billion inhabitants by 2050. So it makes it very big. There are a lot of challenges and opportunities at the same time, but we also identified some crucial problems to solve. And one of the main problems about African urbanization right now is that most of the projects and cities are lacking crucially of architects. So cities are built like in a sort of informal way and unplanned way most of the time. It also lack of local technology, so there is an extra cost to get the technologies from outside of Africa and have some working technology inside the continent. Another issue is that because of the history of Africa and the centuries of colonization, probably also the modern values like of the globalization, All that makes that there is a sort of distance with the traditional culture of African architecture and design. And so the problem is that it results in the temptation of importing models of smart cities that has been preconceived in other contexts, other climates, other economical situation. And so we are facing this very binary results, like the projection that you can see on your left side, and the reality of African cities that you can experience from the streets at your right side. The solution we are thinking about is creating hubs for digital urban commons, where the people, like the actual inhabitants, they can educate themselves about what is the problem solving of a city, about what is the best standard for living in a city nowadays. So these hubs, like the Hub City, is hosting self-educational programs. There are support to micro-entrepreneurship, and we can define it widely like a space for open innovation. So this is bringing some autonomization to entrepreneurs, to neighbors, to people who want to learn more about technology and how they can make it themselves to improve their standards of living. This is also about proposing some open source technology and mentoring both local and foreigners. Mentors are providing some mentorship at the Hub City spaces. So what Hub City is proposing is a network of resources that will be available from neighboring hubs everywhere in the African cities. The proof of concept is the 10-year statement that Sename told you about. So he has been leading this first pilot project that is the Hub City in Lomé, and in total 400 fellow students has been trained at the WoeLab. 12 startups are currently mentored. He hosted 63 public events. He's got 12 active partners worldwide at the moment. He opened 1,300 square meters of co-working space that has been used by these different entrepreneurs, startups, NGOs, and students. And he has a network of 30 engaged mentors coming from a bit everywhere in the world, and willing to push skills and share insights to the incubates. So here you can see a bit the composition of the startup currently incubated in Hub City. They are all dedicated to urban innovation. We have Sisway, which is a local digital currency. We have Scope, a plastic waste recycling solution. Urbanatic is an urban granaries network. Organa is recycling food waste to compost it and spread it to local gardens around the Fab Lab. The Tech Containers is working on a solution to create educative hubs for the streets from containers. You might not know, but Lomé has the biggest deep port of the area. So it is importing and exporting a lot of containers from everywhere in the world to the whole West Africa, in and out, obviously. So that's something. Plus is an African creatives media, a window to the most, vibrant art scene booming in African cities right now. WoeBots is working on 3D printing technologies from Africa. And now, yeah, I want to share you the next steps of the transfer of governance and crowdfunding strategy. So actually, the current owner will split Hub City in shares. The shareholders will candidate to the board of directors. They will be able to vote for the board of directors that they want to be led by. And then in the next 3 years period, from 2022 to 2025, l'Africaine d'Architecture, the current owner, will progressively introduce his partners, advisors, mentors to the board of directors. And after 3 years, by 2025, after 3 years of co-leadership, the board of directors will take the lead on Hub City. So Hub City will be ready to be spread all over the main African cities. We have an estimated budget for it. I will not make it point by point, but looking at what has been the last 3 years period, Hub City needs about 80,000 euros per year to maintain his activity, which consists in prototyping solution at the Fab Lab, strengthening the development of the currently incubated startups, also hosting some mentors and benevolent people visiting the lab. It also needs to hire the core staff working full-time on making it real. So that's more or less how the expenses are done. You can, of course, contact us to have some more information about that if you are interested in buying some shares in Hub City. These are our most active partners so far. We have the European Union, UN, the United Nations, different universities, the organization for Francophonie, which means French-speaking countries, AfriCInnov, a community of incubators in Africa, AfriLabs, another one, and the Global Innovation Gathering Network. So be part of them. Join us as a share owner. You can already send us an email at hello@hubcity.site to get some more information. Actually, these bank accounts are not the good ones, since we are just creating a new one, especially for the crowdfunding campaign. So that's it from my side. I hope it was not too long. Please let me know if you have some more questions. And you will have all the information in the description of the video that you are watching now from YouTube. Is there anything else from your side?
Thank you, Julien. Sename, do you have anything to add as a project manager, project owner?
No. Very good presentation by Julien. I think it is very resume what is the challenge we are facing right now, and what is the point we are right now, because we try to skin off and go from a sort of self-funded experimentation to a very efficient urban development agency. And I'm very glad that you guys join and help us to put words on what can be the ambitions of our utopia.
Thank you very much. That was a pleasure working with you. Yeah.
It was a pleasure working with you. Yeah. So I think it was a really beautiful conclusion by Sename. Julien, go ahead if you want to say something.
Yeah. Nothing else. I think we're done for this wrap up.
All right. So yeah, if any viewers are interested in knowing more about it, just reach out to us, and all of us are always available online. So any mediums is welcome. And thanks again. And I hope we get to see each other again, like in the future, for another collaboration. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Can you cut the recording, Mariko?
Yes. Yeah, by doing this,
Bye.
then we're going to cut the recording.